Hello, my friends. We are doing the next episode of The Haunted Kitchen. We're going to be talking about the haunted Barton Mansion or Barton House. It's located in Redlands, California. It's very close to Loma Linda, California, right on the border. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to make some banana bread from the mix, which is fine. It's still homemade. We're heating the oven. We're baking it homemade. And then I'm going to show you how to make a crumble topping. Very simple, but it always adds a little extra zhuzh to the banana bread. So try to ignore my washer in the back. It's doing its thing. Let's get started. Like I said, we're going to make the banana bread mix. We're going to use the Chiquita brand. I love this one because you can actually use bananas. So many of these quick breads, they don't ask for bananas, which is weird. So anyway, we're going to make that. We're going to use box directions, and then I'm going to show you how to make a crumble topping from scratch. I like to do that for the banana bread. It just adds a little extra pizzazz. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you the story as we do this. So I hope I can do two things at once. We'll see. My washer might get crazy back there, so that could be loud. We'll see about that as well. Okay, I already put one banana in the bowl. We need two. Funny story, I am actually allergic to bananas. I cannot eat them. My throat will close up and I need an EpiPen, so that's fun. So, but I still like to make banana bread for the family because they like it so much. So we're gonna mash those up just a little bit. I just take a fork. And I have to be careful now that I have touched the bananas not to touch my face. Don't touch my face. So anyway, to talk about the Barton Mansion, it is, like I said, it's located in Redlands, in Redlands, very close to Loma Linda. So that would be about an hour or so east of Los Angeles. It's considered one of the most haunted locations in California, which is interesting. I found so many YouTube clips of people kind of like going through the mansion and stuff. And there's one that I'm going to show towards the end of this video that legit scared me when I watched it. Like, it was a jump scare for sure. But in 1959, Dr. Benjamin Barton and his family purchased they purchased 640 acres from San Bernardino County land for only $500. Can you even imagine being able to purchase 640 acres of land for $500? But and that was in 1959 too, which is crazy because it doesn't seem. I gotta check on that. That doesn't seem right. Okay, I had to fact check myself. I said 1959. It was 1857 or 59. 18, not 19, which makes sense a little more with the price of the land. So, you fact checkers out there, fact checking me, I'm fact checking myself first. So anyway, he also owned a vineyard and a winery, and I'm reading my directions. Stir contents of banana bread with the water, egg, mashed bananas. Okay, so we're good. All this takes is the bananas, a large egg, and a third of a cup of water, so it's easy. I'm gonna put the egg in. I think what I'll do is I'll do the egg and the water now, and then that way it's got a nice consistency, and then I'll add the mix. So this is just a third of a cup of water. Again, I'm just following the directions on the bag. But anyway, he also owned a vinery. He also owned a winery and a vineyard. And he was a medical doctor up until 1866. And then that's when he began construction on the Barton Mansion. And I don't think it's changed much since he built it as far as like the outside of the house and that. It's a two-story Victorian home. It was Victorian inspired. So it wasn't built during the Victorian times, but he tried to build it in a Victorian style. There was not, that particular area, there's not a lot of forests and trees and that sort of thing. So he used a lot of bricks that were fired in large kilns. But historians have said all along that this was basically Barton's first mistake because he made the bricks from the land around. So like from the clay that was around. And as we know, got to be careful what land you're building on and what land you're taking from, because they're saying it was a Native American burial ground. So we know that can be a bad thing. If anyone's seen Poltergeist, that's a good reference. So anyway, never build on burial grounds is the tip that we should take away. That's our takeaway. So the history of the Barton Mansion started with the local ancestors of the Native Americans who begged. Basically, they begged him not to build there. This was their ancient land. It was their burial grounds. It was not to be disturbed. They basically cursed him and said, if you build on it, unholy pestilence would be unleashed, which I thought was interesting an interesting way to put it. Of course, he ignored it completely, as people do, and just figured they were superstitions and wasn't scared of it. And this is how the stories always start. They don't listen. They don't listen, and then they still go in there and they fool around and find out. So basically, almost immediately after the construction started and he started building the house, his wife collapsed and died. Just collapsed and died. So he was already kind of advanced in age anyway, and that really took to his health as well. It shook him to the core, basically. They say that emotionally, physically, this one really tore him apart. So he basically, from that point on, sort of became a recluse or a shut-in, you would say, and just kind of stayed away from the world. Didn't have outside contact, you could say. Well, doesn't mean just because he didn't have outside contact with the outside world, he did start to have some contact with another world, and that was the underworld. And he started getting into the occult. So you're on the burial ground, and now you're going to get into the occult. So you're really just asking, you're asking for trouble at this point, but that's what he did. So this is pretty well mixed, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it into our little pan. It smells delicious. I wish I could eat it. Now what I do is I will put parchment paper in this, and so that way when the banana bread is done, I can just sort of lift it out, put it down, and I can cut it really easily, and it doesn't stick to everything. So sorry for the crinkling. Now it seems like it's going to pop out. Once we put the batter in there, it's going to fill it up and lay down. We're going to pour this in. Just try to get all the goodness. And you'll see once we put it in, see, it just pops right down. This is very thick this time, and it makes me feel like I forgot something, but every time you make it, it's a little different because I think it's sort of the consistency of the bananas. So many times when I make this, the bananas are super ripe, sort of on the end of their lifespan, and I just want to use them up. And so I think that makes it maybe a little runnier, a little moister. So hopefully this will still be just as good. I'm sure it will. So, and then just kind of, you know, push it around a little bit, spread it in, but you know, as it bakes, it's going to lay down flat and it's going to turn into a loaf. You have to trust the process, they say. That's what we're looking like. So we'll set that aside. So anyway, like I said, during this time, he became really engrossed with the magic rituals of satanic origin. Loud noises, red lights were seen flickering through the window panes of the house. One of the presumptions or guesses was that he was casting spells, and he was doing that using human bodies. Redlands at that time, the West Redlands area at that time, was still not super populated. And so it said because of the railroad at that time, the railroad came through there. And in my last video, I mentioned that back in the olden days, Redlands was very well known for its orange industry, oranges. And so I believe that the trains and that came through quite a bit for that, which also then brought in a good amount of transient workers. And so even though there's no official arrests or records, the legend is that these transients were disappearing after looking for lodging at, you guessed it, the Barton mansion. So he was taking in lodgers, probably like a boarding house. So he would take in the workers, they would stay there, probably work for their room and board. And they were disappearing. And with him being a medical doctor, it's believed that he then surgically harvested body parts of these people, which then provided the items that he needed for his rituals that he was performing. So it's very bad, very bad. And then in 1898, he died. He just up and died. No one knows why. It was a complete mystery. Nobody knows. So then with his immediate family, all deceased, and no one to, I guess, close to give everything to, then his property and everything eventually went to extended family, who then sold the property. So, and then, this is crazy, of all things, if it's not scary enough, in all things, in the 1920s, the mansion was converted into a mental hospital. So, like I said, if that's not scary enough, let's just go full Shutter Island. So anyways, I'm gonna show you how to make the crumble right now. Okay, we're back. I had to plug in my phone, so I moved stuff around, so I'm hoping that my camera angles are at least close to what they were. Okay, so for our crumble, we're going to use a stick of butter. And I set it out for a little bit. It's not super melted, so we're gonna see how that goes. Have faith, have faith. I've got about a 1/4 cup of flour that we're gonna put in there. And I'm gonna add some cinnamon. This is optional, you don't have to, but I like to. I just sprinkle a little bit. And then I'm gonna add some brown sugar. I got this container off of Amazon, and it comes with these little terracotta tiles. You soak them in water and then you put them in there. And I don't know what sorcery this is, but look at the brown sugar. It's like perfectly soft. And this is old. I mean, not old, but like I've had it for a while and it's just perfect. And I am not measuring at all, but I'm putting a whole bunch in here. I'm gonna say maybe like a cup. We're gonna say about a cup. Anyway, I recommend this wholeheartedly. It's amazing. All right, so we've got brown sugar, we've got a stick of butter, we've got flour, and we've got cinnamon. And I'm just gonna take a fork and just kind of turn it in there. Oh, my nose is itchy, sorry guys. Just kind of like put it through the tines, you know, right? So it like breaks it up. And then just keep doing that. Sometimes I'll just put on little gloves and I'll just use my fingers and just sort of break it up with that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like it doesn't have to be fully mixed. Some people do fully melt their butter and pour it in there, and that's a way to do it for sure. But you don't have to do that. You can just kind of break it in as you go. So I'm just breaking it up, breaking it up, breaking it up. And what I do is I kind of like push down on the butter so it goes through the tines of the fork. And that's pretty good. I know I said I'd go in with gloves, but I'm gonna break up a little bit of this. It's gonna go in the oven, it's gonna bake. My hands are clean, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine. It's gonna be like fully sanitized once it goes through the oven. The butter was just pretty cold. All right. So that is a crumble. It's just kind of, so hopefully you can see it. See how like the butter is just kind of broken up in there and you've got your cinnamon or your brown sugar and cinnamon with it. And just kind of keep working on it till it's crumbly. Hence crumble topping. All right. Then, now I'm just gonna put it all over the top of this. And it's nice because I've got this parchment paper, so it kind of goes up and over. So I can just pour it right on there, right? And then when it bakes in, it will have like a nice little crust on the top. And I'm just breaking up a few more of the little pieces. But yeah, that's it. It seems weird, like it's not gonna work, but it does. It magically comes together and it's just beautiful. So that's what we're working with. So we're gonna pop that in the oven. And when we pull it out, I will show you, I'll cut it and show you how it turns out. But right now, I'm gonna tell you the rest of this story. Okay, so we put the banana bread and the crumble topping in the oven for about 45 minutes on 350. So while that's baking, we'll finish this up. So, like I said, they went ahead and they turned the mansion into a mental hospital, which is just, I don't know, like you're already taking something so terrifying and now you're gonna make it even, I'm not bashing people with mental health issues at all, but like so many scary movies that you've ever seen or like haunted places you've ever seen always end up being like mental institutions, which is terrifying. So anyway, it turned into that in a nursing home for terminally ill patients. So that went on like that for about 50 years, about 5 decades. And just kind of amplified the whole scary feel, I guess, of the mansion. So people that work there reported stories of seeing like dark and shadowy figures dancing along the walls. Others reported like objects moving, smells that were never explainable. And then in the late 1970s, a storm just destroyed part of the mansion, and then it was officially closed and sold back to the local government. So now, one of the most shocking parts of the story is in 2001, there was a group of teenagers that took a video recorder into the Barton mansion, just to kind of see if they could find anything to sort of show what it looked like. And it was pretty tore up at this point. Now, since then, the mansion definitely looks to be in good shape. Someone else owns it. There's a business running out of it. I'm not exactly sure what the current state is, but in 2001, this group of teens went through, they videotaped, they were exploring the whole house. They had come upstairs. They kind of like pan off on one direction, and then when they come back, they see this figure. And I'm going to show it to you. It was scary. I watched it and I was like, whoa. And it seems very real. They ran down the stairs. They left the property. Many people have examined the footage later on, and many believe that it is real, because if this is in 2001, right, we didn't really have AI. We didn't have, I mean, I guess we had Photoshop and stuff like that, but like we didn't quite have the technology that we would now to sort of fake what they saw. So most people believe it to be real footage. So other than that, other people have also seen what they believe to be hooded figures entering and leaving the mansion, which that could be actual real people maybe doing some naughty things there. I don't know, but maybe more rituals, which is scary. But like I said, today the mansion's been bought and converted into something else. I think it's just like business offices, something like that. Seems very subdued. I don't know that there's any recent stories, but I'm going to show you the clip and you let me know what you think. I think it looks pretty legit. I think it looks pretty scary. But yeah, so let's watch the clip.
Cover my back, all right? What the hell's that? That on the floor. Right there. Oh, shit!
Okay, so did you get scared? I got scared. Anyway, that's it for now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you've heard anything else about it. If you know any more history about the Barton Mansion, I'd love to hear it in the comments as well. We will check back on our banana bread in about 45 minutes. I will show you how I pull it out with the parchment paper and slice it up. And that will be it. And I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the end to see our banana bread. And thank you. Have a great week.